You've seen this image thousands of times. Every time you boot up Minecraft, there it is. That peaceful landscape rotating slowly across your screen. Rolling hills, scattered trees, a perfect lake reflecting the sky. But for years, this image held a secret. Hidden in plain sight was one of the most challenging puzzles the Minecraft community had ever encountered. A mystery so complex it would take thousands of players, advanced analysis, and years of searching to solve. And in Minecraft's earliest days, players were finding things that shouldn't exist. Structures that seemed built by human hands in worlds that should have been completely untouched. These aren't just stories about code and pixels. These are stories about human curiosity, communities working together, and the magic that happens when thousands of minds focus on seemingly impossible questions. Today we're exploring something that makes Minecraft unique: its ability to generate real mysteries. When you create a new world, you're witnessing the birth of a unique landscape created by mathematical formulas, combining in unpredictable ways. This creates genuine possibility for surprise and discovery. The Minecraft community attracts explorers who love digging deeper, asking questions. People who see a beautiful background and wonder, where is that actually located? People who find something strange and think, this doesn't look right. Let's start with something familiar. Load up Minecraft, and there it is, the Panorama. I remember really looking at it for the first time. The way light hits those trees, the gentle hills, that perfectly placed lake. It's gorgeous, but here's what makes it special. This isn't painted art. This is a real Minecraft world, captured from a specific location. This means somewhere in the vast space of possible Minecraft worlds, there exists a seed generating this exact landscape. For years, this was just an interesting thought. But in the Minecraft community, there are always people who wonder about everything. The breakthrough came when someone extracted the actual image files from the game's resources. Instead of analyzing a moving image, investigators had 6 high-resolution, static images to examine. This revealed details invisible in the rotating display: specific tree formations, unusual terrain features, water and land positioning. Most importantly, clues about which Minecraft version created this landscape. Through careful analysis, the community determined this world was generated in early Minecraft, probably alpha or beta. This narrowed the search significantly, but created new challenges since early generation was more chaotic. A Minecraft seed is a 64-bit integer. That's 18 quintillion, 446
quadrillion, 744 trillion, 73 billion, 709 million, 551,000,
616 possible worlds. If you checked one seed every second, it would take 584 billion years to check them all. But the challenge was greater because investigators needed both the right seed and the exact coordinates where the panorama was captured. Even with the right seed, they'd need to find the specific location in an effectively infinite world. This seemed completely impossible. The search became one of gaming's most impressive crowdsourced investigations. What started as curious individuals grew into massive community effort involving hundreds of participants. The collaboration worked on multiple levels. Some developed search algorithms, others contributed computing power. Specialists analyzed images for details that could narrow parameters. The community created increasingly sophisticated automated tools. After months of searching, thousands of hours of community effort, checking countless seeds that came close but never matched, someone found it. On July 18, 2020, at around 5:45 a.m. UTC, the discovery was finally made. This was the seed. But finding the seed was only half the triumph. The real magic happened when community members loaded that seed and traveled to those coordinates. Suddenly, they weren't looking at a background image. They were standing in the actual world. Watching first videos of people exploring this world felt surreal. Here was a place millions had seen thousands of times, but no one had visited. Like discovering a painting was actually a window you could step through. The world was beautiful in ways static images couldn't capture. You could walk to that lake and see fish swimming, climb those hills and look from new angles, explore beyond the panorama's boundaries. There's something profound here that goes beyond technical achievement. For years, that panorama was just interface, functional, background noise. But some players saw it as more, a puzzle, challenge, mystery waiting to be solved. The Panorama Hunt reveals something beautiful about Minecraft's community. These are fundamentally explorers who aren't satisfied playing as intended. They want to understand how it works, push boundaries, discover things even creators might not know. To understand our second mystery, we need to travel back to Minecraft's alpha stage when the game was still experimental and the world was much stranger. Alpha Minecraft was completely different from today's polished game. This was raw, experimental Minecraft when Notch was figuring out what the game should become. World generation was wild and chaotic, but there was something magical about those early worlds. They had genuine unpredictability. You never knew what you'd find. Generation algorithms were simpler, but more prone to unusual formations and impossible terrain. It was in this digital Wild West that our second mystery was born. A player, let's call them Alex, was exploring their alpha world, venturing far from spawn to see what interesting formations generation might have created. This was before maps or coordinates, requiring landmarks and memory for navigation. During one expedition, Alex crested a hill and saw something that made them stop dead.
There's like a little walkway made out of dirt, and there's torches on it. And I have never been over here. I've only been on one place on my island. And I actually found a house up here that is furnished like I had been using it.
There, in a clearing surrounded by trees, was a house. This might not sound remarkable to modern players accustomed to villages and structures, but remember, this was Alpha. There were no villages, no structures, no generated buildings of any kind. The world should have been completely untouched. Yet, here was clearly a human-built structure, sitting alone in wilderness. The house wasn't elaborate, small, simple, basic materials. But it was undeniably artificial, right proportions, sensible construction, intentional placement. This wasn't random terrain that looked like a building. This was clearly, unmistakably, a house. Alex faced a mystery with no logical solution. How could there be a player-built house in their single-player alpha world? Maybe they'd forgotten building it themselves. But Alex was certain this wasn't the case. They remembered their constructions, and this house was built in a style that didn't match their preferences. Maybe this wasn't actually single-player, but they were certain about their world's history. Created themselves, played exclusively solo, never shared. The third possibility was most unsettling. Something in Minecraft's generation had created this structure, but that seemed impossible. Alpha algorithms were simple and well understood. They created terrain, vegetation, caves, ore deposits. They couldn't create buildings, could they? When Alex posted screenshots and their story to early forums, response was immediate and intense. This was exactly the mystery the early community lived for. Initial response was skeptical, but intrigued. Many suggested obvious explanations: forgotten construction, confused world files, elaborate hoax. But Alex's evidence was compelling, and their story consistent. More importantly, Alex wasn't alone. As discussion continued, other players came forward with similar stories. Structures in their alpha worlds they couldn't explain. Not identical to Alex's house, but similar in apparent artificiality and impossible existence. One found a cobblestone tower. Another discovered a bridge spanning a river. Yet another found torches arranged in deliberate patterns, lighting a cave they'd never explored. The community realized they might be dealing with something systematic rather than isolated incidents. As reports accumulated, the community developed theories to explain these mysterious structures. World corruption. Structures resulted from world file corruption. Alpha was notoriously unstable. Corruption was common. Maybe certain corruption types created patterns resembling intentional buildings. Critics noted, reported structures were too coherent and architecturally sensible for random corruption. Corruption typically produces chaos, not carefully planned buildings. Development remnant theory. Structures were left over from Notch's development process. Test structures had somehow become embedded in generation code and occasionally spawned in player worlds. This explained why structures seemed architecturally sensible, built by a human developer. It explained their rarity. They were bugs, not features. But structures varied in style, unlike consistent test builds a developer might create. Generation quirk theory. Structures resulted from extremely rare algorithmic quirks. Certain combinations of terrain, cave, and ore generation could theoretically create building-like formations. This theory required no external explanation, just normal algorithm operation under unusual circumstances. But critics noted the astronomical probability of such formations occurring naturally. Years later, the Alpha Mystery House was finally solved, and the truth was more fascinating than anyone had imagined. The original video wasn't faked. The mystery had a perfectly logical explanation that revealed something incredible about early Minecraft's file system. The player who found the house was using a downloaded copy of Minecraft. Due to a chunk error in how the game handled save files, the base of the original owner of that copy was being generated in new save slots. Without anyone knowing, the original owner's base had been immortalized in potentially thousands of players' worlds. Through detective work by community members, they contacted users who had engaged in the original forum discussions. Miraculously, they found someone who had experienced the same glitch and still had their original save files accessible after 13 to 14 years. This discovery revealed something beautiful about digital archaeology. A single player's creation had unknowingly become part of countless other players' experiences. Their house lived on in worlds they never knew existed, creating mystery and wonder for players who stumbled across it years later. These mysteries represent different types of discovery, with satisfying solutions. The Panorama hunt was a technical challenge requiring community collaboration and sophisticated analysis. The Alpha House was a human story about unexpected digital connection across time. Both revealed incredible investigative capabilities of gaming communities. Players organized into effective research teams, developed sophisticated tools, and maintained motivation through apparent stagnation. They demonstrated that Minecraft is more than a game. It's a discovery platform, a system complex enough to generate genuine surprises, and a community space where curious people work together. These stories matter because they remind us wonder and discovery remain possible in our digital age. When everything feels cataloged and explained, Minecraft offers genuine mysteries and surprises. They show us the best of online communities. Instead of toxicity and division characterizing too many internet interactions, these stories show collaboration, support, and shared celebration. And they demonstrate curiosity's value for its own sake. Participants weren't motivated by money or grades. They were motivated by simple human desire to understand something mysterious.